Hey, welcome back from the break. Goodies out there, huh? How many of you love chocolate? I love chocolate. I love it when they have chocolate and nuts and fruit and all those good choices. Yum. So I'm charged and ready to go this afternoon. How about you? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's review what we did this morning already, shall we? Just to make sure we're on track. So we all agreed that obesity in children is an issue, yes? Yes. Something that we really do want to address, yeah? Yes. Okay. And you knew that before you came in because of the conversations and surveys that we did. So there was consensus before we came in the room that those of you here do want to find ways to reduce obesity in our district. And we did make sure that we were all aligned on that purpose. And there's a lot of things we could do today. We could talk about how awful it is and whose fault it is and all of that. But we agreed that we're going to focus on solutions. And we're going to agree by the end of today on just a few actions, even if it's one or two, right? But just agree on some actions that who's going to take? We are. Who's we? Absolutely. So we in this room can and will either do ourselves or support each other to make sure that these things happen so that what? Reduce obesity. Let's get some skinny kids. Let's get some healthy kids. All that good organic local food, right? Yeah. Okay. So before we start generating the list, where are we in the agenda? Let's look at that. So we have sticky tape. Okay, so we did our intros. We learned who's in the room and what your jobs are. We talked about the benefits. I guess I'll use a fat marker, huh? We talked about the benefits of reducing obesity. And what I'd like to do is we talked about who we are and what our jobs are, but we haven't yet talked about what each of our roles and responsibilities are for accomplishing our shared objective. So that's where I'd like to go next, before we get into what could we do, and then we'll prioritize and figure out what we actually are going to do and what is actually doable, not just pie in the sky, so that we can get our goal of actually having a few things that we're actually going to do, hopefully together. Are we good? Are we on the right track still? Yep. Okay, cool. So help me understand, why are we doing roles and responsibilities before we figure out what we're going to do? I'm about to tell you. Good question. I planted him in the audience. Oh, you can't see the pen. Okay, thanks. So let's just recap. What are some of the, in case we were out of the room this morning. So what are the roles that are in the room? Name one. Therapists, teachers, coaches. School staff. Okay, very good. Okay, and you may be all thinking, well, how can we all agree on actions because each of our roles and responsibilities is so different? We each have different authorities. So what's the point of agreeing on actions that we will take? I'm working on it. How many of you have plans in your own organizations for nutrition in the schools? How many of you have that as kind of part of your goals? Right. So we each have individual plans. Is there benefit for us figuring out something to do together? What would be the benefit of not just doing our individual things, but kind of pooling resources and being more synergistic? And what would be the benefits? Economy of scales? Better impact? Consistent message? So there's lots of values. So, you know, I was a teacher kind of in an earlier life, but I've never been an elected official. I can only imagine the pressures that that brings and what kind of accountabilities I'm held up to. I've never been a cafeteria worker. Which is the group that's the cafeteria, the people that actually deliver the food? Great. So I've never done that. So I'd like to better understand what each of you is really seeing as your piece of this, like a big jigsaw puzzle, so that we can all make better decisions based on understanding more of your needs and realities. So, does that seem like a good idea? Would that help you to come to some conclusion? about the few things that we could do? Okay, great. So you have been grouped. So we've got parents over here. We've got board members here. We've got
teachers, counselors,
and we've got
vendors, providers of food.
okay, great. So what I'd like you to do is to answer this question as a group. So take a minute, and I'd like you to just jot down a note or two, or you can just remember it in your mind, on what do you feel, just your individual answer, is your actual role or responsibility for helping kids either stay lean or get lean? Question?
No, I was going to answer that.
I'd like you to just think in your own mind. In your own mind. Sorry, I sometimes don't give clear directions, so I welcome questions to clarify directions. I really do. So think in your own mind. And now what I'd like you to do is to share with each other what you think the responsibility and role is of people that have your job. By the way, if you have several jobs, you're a parent and a teacher and a school board member, just pick one. And you grouped yourselves sitting at these tables, so pick, for this exercise, if you wouldn't mind putting yourself in this role.
So we have to do the due diligence.
So I'd like you to talk with each other, share your ideas, and at the end, come up with your top 3 of what you think your most important roles and responsibilities are in your job. In this job, what your most important responsibilities are to help kids not get obese or get skinny. Okay? Share your ideas, come up with 3 as a group. Okay. Great energy in the room. Thank you very much. And would you just hand me the 3 Post-its that you have written with your ideas? No, it's okay. It's a few minutes later, and so if you could hand me your answers that are on your sheet. Yes, So hand me your answers. Thank you very much. Great. And hand me your answers. Great. The reason I'm collecting these is we're going to actually create a document later that will help us better understand. But I'd like you to be able to hear each other. So let's hear from this table. What was one idea that you had? And this is the parents, right? Can you see that way over there? Let me write with the fat side. Okay, what's one?
Feed kids healthy foods.
Okay, feed kids healthy. K is for kids. Okay, great. How about school board members? What was one thing you came up with, your role and responsibility?
The cost under control.
Okay, keep the costs under control. Keep them down, I suppose, not up.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the teachers group? Great. What did you have down as one of your items?
Get kids moving.
Get them moving. Get kids moving. Moving and grooving, right? And how about all our people that are actually directly involved with the food? What did you come up with?
You got to offer different choices as our responsibility to that, and being open to doing things differently.
Okay, great. Okay, now that we've heard all the ideas from each of the 4 tables, are you seeing some commonalities? Can you make some connections? Is there some link between these 4 categories?
Feed the kids healthy and we offer better choices.
Yeah, how can I feed them if I don't have choices?
Right.
Right? And if I give choices, but at home they don't know from an apple, then they may not make that choice. Are you beginning to see how there might be some of the linkages? Fabulous. Great. Let's see. So imagine, now that you have a kind of a better understanding of all the resources that are in the room, imagine that it's a year from now, and this group is meeting again. So look around the room. So these same people, because you're the people that have the authority and the influence and the ability to make these things happen, It's a year from now. You're looking around the room. Imagine, look around the room again and see everybody smiling from ear to ear because, honey, high five, we have done it. Yeah. Woohoo! All right? We've done it. Now, think between now and then, what are some things that this group, this whole group, everybody in this group, what are some things that you could do to take us from here to there where we are celebrating? Okay? Grab a Post-it, write an idea, anything that pops in your mind, anything at all. All right, you all have just written about 5 ideas. Grab one of those ideas and come on up here. Everybody get up, come on up here with me. Grab that Post-it that you just wrote your answer on. Yep, you got your answers. Everybody come on up. It's after lunch. We got to get you out of your chairs. Come on.
Everybody in the whole room or just?
Everybody at the tables. Get up. Now listen up. This is a little tricky. This is a little tricky. Here's the question I asked you. Here's the question I asked you. I asked you, what could we be doing, that's we in this room, to reduce obesity in kids in our district? Grab what you think is your clearest idea that you brought up here in your hand and stick it under one of these right now meaningless symbols. Just stick one of your ideas under one of those symbols. Doesn't matter which one. Don't sit down yet. Your work's not done. This is called a workshop. You're going to work. Okay. Now, most of you followed my directions, and most of you followed my directions, and you wrote
Put that one up.
3 to 5 words, and you wrote big like this. So now you can all read what your ideas were. Now, how many of you see something on the board that you wrote a Post-it for that somebody else put up? How many of you see an idea in somebody else's handwriting that you thought of? That was your idea. How many of you see one of those? Isn't that interesting that other people have the same idea as you? Now, look at your Post-its that you brought up here with all the ideas that you brainstormed with yourself. Pick another one that's not up there yet. And if it's similar to something that is already up there, do me a favor and stick them, attach them to each other just like that. So we'll start having groupings of similar ideas. So maybe, for example, here's make food fun. So maybe the idea I wrote down was happy faces painted on oranges.
Great idea.
That would go together.
So just grab another Post-it in your hand that you wrote and come on up here and just, you know, if something similar is not up there,
1 minute.
put it somewhere under another circle, under another symbol. Okay. You can go back to your seats now. Thank you. So what, by the way, this exercise is always chaotic, but what do you think in those 10 minutes, what do you think about all the ideas that you came up with? Are some of those implementable?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So the next...
Get right in, get right in.
Get us started, if you would. 3 things that you would do. Oh, 3 things that you did that you felt like you did well.
I think I'm energetic and engaging.
One more.
Maybe.
One more. That's 2.
I think I engaged them in terms of the benefits and the belief that we could come to agreement,
Good.
even though we were different.
Very good. In the back.